With no earthquake, no warning, and no explanation, California's coastline suddenly rose 6 feet above the waves. Residents went to bed with calm seas at their doorstep, but by morning, the shoreline had risen dramatically. Scientists are calling it one of the most sudden geological shifts ever recorded along the Pacific coast. Fishermen were also telling a horror story to scientists. They observed steam rising from the cracks in the sand. They saw water boiling on the coastline, ready to explode. This was quite shocking. GPS sensors have told scientists that there is no volcano beneath the sea. So why is water boiling? Why is sand rising as if it is getting ready for a volcano? Why does the coastline suddenly rise from the ocean? Scientists were anxious to know the answers to these questions, and when they did, they were scared of what was coming next. Researchers from JPL and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration used satellite radar to monitor more than 1,000 miles of California coast. This coastline sits on the meeting point of two restless tectonic plates, the Pacific and the North American. Due to these plates, over the centuries, their instruments have noticed the small vertical shifts across the coastline. But these shifts are quite small, sometimes measured in fractions of an inch every year. Sometimes it is 0, and sometimes it is around 4 millimeters. That is less than the width of the pencil tip. A few places, like Santa Barbara Basin or Long Beach, have the land rising regularly by a few millimeters every year. It is gradual, continuous, and has some solid reasons behind it. People in these areas pumped water from the underground and polluted it with their oil field operations. So, these human activities are causing the gradual rise and fall of the Californian coast. Due to these activities, scientists recorded the uplift of 3 millimeters in Santa Barbara in a year. It was equal to the thickness of a credit card and took 12 months. Yet scientists were shocked by this, believing that they should monitor human activities this year. But this sudden rise of the coast within a night proves that humans have nothing to do with this. Tectonic plates under the Earth are acting, setting the stage for any catastrophic future event. It is different from what Californians have known over the centuries. Marine Gavorchin is a remote sensing scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. He and his team landed on the California coastline to make sure that there is no technical fault in their satellites. After hours of checking the area through their 4,000 coastal GPS units, they found that the water level had dropped by nearly 2 millimeters within hours. It happened at every major California coastline. So in the end, the land had uniformly risen across a vast stretch of Californian coast. Gavorchin concluded it by saying that the land is moving down faster than the sea itself is going up. Now, what was the reason for it? The first thing that came to mind was a catastrophic earthquake. The whole world has recently been facing severe earthquakes, so the California coast might also have faced one during the night. But seismic radars were silent. They were not indicating any severe earthquakes. So, what was the mystery? Well, the California coastline has a history of rising and falling. It first became unpredictable in 1956. A moderate earthquake near the Monterey Bay Point Sur region and small-scale crustal movements along the central coast caused localized coastal uplift. Residents woke to find cracks zigzagging across their lawns and houses. It continued for 7 months. Residents felt they were residing over a belt that is continuously pulsing and moving. Every day they would wake up to a new crack in their walls, a new gap in their home tiles. Underneath the Earth, geology was getting merciless. The Pacific Plate moved northwest past the North American Plate. When stress builds up along the fault lines, it causes sections of the crust to suddenly shift upward. This tectonic movement across fault lines caused the ground to shift almost 22 feet. By spring, over 140 homes were damaged or destroyed, leaving entire neighborhoods in ruins. A few survivors told the world how they saw their childhood homes getting away from them, inch by inch, every day. They tried to live in them, but with continuous destruction, it was impossible. Scientists tried to find the reason for this destruction, and they realized that the overload of construction and water caused the plates underneath the Earth to slip. These cracks and plates never settled down entirely. That was the reason scientists were observing the Californian coastline keenly for years. The ground lifting and shifting a few centimeters every year was acceptable and expected. The geography of this area seemed to settle down, but then in 2022, it showed some signs of instability. Between December 2022 and March 2023, California experienced a significant flood event. The 2022 to 2023 California floods brought heavy rainfall and atmospheric rivers to Southern California, the Central Coast, and Northern California, causing major flooding, evacuations, and infrastructure damage. This heavy rainfall changed the whole machinery of the underground Earth. The water seeped deeper into the soil, softening the ancient clay and awakening the old cracks of the Earth. That water was twice the usual rainfall, so the Californian ancient clay and cracks were not ready to accept it. It pushed groundwater tables to levels unseen before. This water ignited the landslide. The whole area, from surface to deep underground levels, moved with precision and brutality. Sensors recorded the ground moving at rates up to 30 centimeters a week. The landslide zone ballooned from 380 acres to 700, and even new neighborhoods were created as it expanded. Buckled pavement and fractured water mains became a routine. Gas pipelines rupturing, buildings collapsing, and roads cracking became a new normal routine. This sliding land crashed into the hard rocks of the coastline. Those rocks didn't budge, and the sliding ground was eager to move. So this tension caused what scientists called a toe uplift. The landslide area moves up the existing area, as it couldn't move forward. Over the years, sensors have observed this land rising by a few millimeters each year. The toe uplift is gradually moving forward. It doesn't need any weather changes or earthquakes. Just water, gravity, and stubborn coastal geometry are enough for land rising. But this 6-foot rise of the coastline is something that scientists were not expecting. From San Francisco to Los Angeles, the whole Californian coastline uplifted uniformly. Marine biologists reached the shore to find marine life baking under the sun. Waves never came back to take them underneath the sea. They were left on the beach, suffering silently. So different biologists and rescue teams started working on saving their lives. It took them hours, but they became successful in saving marine life. Seismic crews used their devices to get a picture of this new ground. What they received from their sensors was quite strange. A void, almost the size of a city block, sits in the place where the previous ground used to be. It had sharp boundaries and didn't resemble any cave or hollow. Electrical resistivity cross-sections show that this hollow boundary was full of material that was unknown to scientists. This void and material in it were defying the science that geologists know. This void had sparked panic among Californians. They were already on the edge because of Mount Etna, and now this mysterious void was making them restless. Scientists didn't know how this void happened, or how they could prevent it from expanding further. This void could destroy areas around the coastline, causing millions of dollars to be lost to the government. Thousands of people and several communities could become the victims of this mysterious void. The land underneath the coastline is unreliable, so it could swallow communities above it. The boiling water and unusual sand activity are forcing scientists to believe that this void is related to volcanic activity. Tectonic plates are moving, and it might be making new volcanoes or lava beneath the California coastline. Scientists are still working on it. We will keep you updated about any future activity, so subscribe to our channel. Thank you.